Welcome to Expat Hoops. Today we talk with DeAndre Abram, who played for George Mason and the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee before starting his pro career in 2020.
Before we talk to DeAndre, I want to remind you to be interactive with us at Expat Hoops. We're active on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also show your support for content like this by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, or commenting below the video on our YouTube page. We also have a Patreon page, which you can find the button for that up in the corner of our YouTube page. Now, if you'll join Tony and I in welcoming DeAndre to Expat Hoops. Welcome to the show, DeAndre.
Appreciate you for having me. Appreciate you guys.
So, like to start out, you're coming out of high school in Texas, going through different offers, things like that. Was George Mason and the decision to go there the first time that you were away from home for an extended period of time?
It actually wasn't my first option. I had a couple offers that I had, but they just didn't seem right. So I visited Mason my first time. I fell in love with literally the atmosphere. I think I went to Joe's and Shack. It's a nice restaurant down there. I fell in love with that. Also, just the court. I think my role coming into Mason, it was a different. I think it was a lot of transfers coming out, so I think it was going to be an opportunity for me to play right away. That would really made my decision to go to Mason.
And so, was that your first time away from home for an extended period of time? Like, was it the first time?
Oh, most definitely. Because I've always lived in Texas. Before flying to Mason, I flew probably like twice in my life. So I think that was another reason why I kind of decided to go to Mason, because I kind of wanted to get away from home. I wanted to travel the world and play the game that I love, and just meet different people from a different side of, I guess, the States.
And if you can't tell by listening already, this early in the podcast, that's going to be a theme here. We're going to ask you about a couple times being away from home and what you wanted to be now that you're globetrotting, so to speak. So I'll turn it over to Tony to ask you about your time at Mason specifically before we get into the next step for you.
And you mentioned that you have a lot of playing time off the top, and you did. You played in over 30 games. You had about a dozen starts. You flourished your freshman year. Had a pretty good time there. Playing time fell off a little bit your sophomore year. You decided to transfer. You had some options on the table. Talk to us about both your freshman year at Mason, where you're learning the game of college basketball, and then get into a little bit of your transfer out and the options that you had on the table of where to go from there.
Well, my freshman year, I came in, I was really excited just because, I was in a different atmosphere, met, different teammates from different parts of the world. So I was really just most excited to just, get out there and just, grind and work. And then early on, I kind of, really didn't play. I played the first games, but not, the minutes that I thought I could play. And it was kind of difficult. And then, being homesick as well, obviously I want to be away from home, but, you still, miss, home in general. So it was tough at the beginning, but then eventually it was some playing time available for me. In my first game starting, I had 24 points. And that was kind of like a confidence booster for me. And then the next game followed up with a double-double, and that got me two-time rookie of the week. So that kind of, made me like, okay, I'm here now. And, that was exciting. And then finished out freshman year. I feel I had a great freshman year. And then sophomore year, I had very big expectations to follow my freshman year. And, I started like first 3 games, and, my playing time, really decreased. And that was kind of a hit for me. And, that's what, kind of led me to, make the decision to transfer. And, I took a visit to Fresno State. I thought I was going to take that offer, but, things didn't work out that way. And I kind of didn't have a lot of offers coming in. I was like, kind of getting anxious on, where I was going to play next. And Coach Ball from University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, he hit me up, and he was like, "We really want you." And I kind of made that leap of faith. It was like, let me just, come here and see what I can do, and it kind of ended up working out in my favor. So that's why I spent my redshirt year, junior and senior year, and I feel like it was good for me. And I think my redshirt year really would kind of made me like, okay, I can really make noise and here at Milwaukee, and I think that's what led me to have success and be a pro now.
Yeah, and you averaged about 12, 13 points a game, about 6 or 7 rebounds a game while you were at Wisconsin Milwaukee. So you were definitely a factor in their successes there over the course of your time.
Yep.
At what point at your time in Wisconsin Milwaukee, I assumed you probably hadn't really you probably wanted to, but hadn't really put much serious thought to planning out how you were going to become a pro. At what point did you start that process while you're at Wisconsin Milwaukee?
I would really say like my last game in Milwaukee. That's when I kind of was like, all right, let me focus on the next step, because I know it was always talked about. I had a couple agents hit me up, but I really was just focused on just finishing out my senior season as strong as possible. And that was always my focus. What I was I think that's what that's something about me. Whatever I'm doing, I'm focused on that now, and then I know something will happen in the future for me if I work hard now. So I think that's why I didn't really focus on, I guess, being a pro until it came time.
And as far as navigating that process, you talked about it was like the last game of your senior season, and you had a couple agents hit you up and everything. You obviously had a choice. So what was that like? Did you have anybody with any input about selecting an agent, what you would want to look for going pro, or was that something that you navigated largely on your own?
I actually did it on my own. Obviously I had people, supporting me, like my mother. She always, wanted to figure out what was going on, because, she cares. But I was just like, I think this was something that I just needed to, figure out on my own, because I know if I'm going to, progress my career, I need to know what's happening. And I really need to figure out what I needed. And so the way I chose my agent was really just who kept in contact with me, made sure, things was right on the table for me. And I think that's, why, I made my decision on, who I chose my agent.
So once you decided to go with an agent, what was the thought process and the decision process actually of fielding, the different offers, and how did they take you through that?
Like I said, I really went off base of what I needed, because there were some agents that wanted me to go here, but I just feel like with the game of basketball, everything is politics. So I just felt with the agent I chose, he's planning out, what I need to be doing right now as far as how I can progress. Because obviously I have goals to, be playing the highest league possible, which is the NBA. But I feel like for me, I think I need to take a different route in order to get there. So the agent I chose, I feel like he was really just on top of things as far as getting me overseas and getting me to countries right away. And that's why, I made that decision, and that's why I stuck with him this year as well. So that's what made me choose.
So you've played in 2 countries so far, and the entire time of your professional career has been during the COVID-19 pandemic, which we've talked about this. Every guest has had on this show has had their own experience with COVID over the course of the time. Most of which had some playing time pre-COVID. That unfortunately is not the case for you. So you start out in Denmark in 2020, and you're basically like, as you're getting into being a professional overseas, this pandemic is going through Europe. There are shutdowns and all that stuff. Walk us through getting your first professional job in the midst of all this, and what that was like in your first year being, under a semblance of lockdown overseas.
Yeah, it was actually very tough for me, because coming in, I actually had to quarantine for 14 days. So it was already like a struggle, because I felt like I was in prison, because I'm basically locked in my room. I can't really go out. I have to make sure, my teammates weren't there. So that was very difficult. And then coming in, my first practice, I almost died literally. Like I was like really out of shape, and that's what kind of felt like I was behind in a sense, and I was trying to play catch up for like the first 2 weeks. So that was, COVID was definitely, impacting me and my professional career uh, because even when there was a miss of like mid-season, we played a team and then they ended up having like 5 or 6 players catch COVID, and so there was another basically shutdown of our league, and I had to sit out like another 10 days, and uh, it kind of put me back again, and that's why I was just like a tough situation. And unfortunately, I mean, well, not unfortunately, thankfully, it hasn't happened yet here in Slovakia. So I'm just hoping, things, continue to go well, and I don't have to quarantine, or our league won't get shut down. So it's really just up in the air at this point.
Despite that, you did get some playing time. You averaged about 11 points, 4 rebounds per game. What
Yep.
did you take from that season on the court that you have now in Slovakia with you?
Really, everything's a business. You got to really come in every day, expecting, your job's on the line. Because in Denmark, I had a great experience. I feel like I had a great like 11 points, 4 rebounds coming in as a rookie. I feel like that's decent numbers. But like I said, you really got to stay on your toes with how you play, because at the end of the day, it's a business, and that's what kind of ended my time in Denmark, because it was really unexpected. So coming here in Slovakia, I take that. You got to have a chip on your shoulder every day. You got to work hard. You got to really not slack off. You might have a couple of good games, but that doesn't keep you safe. So that's why I continue to push every day, and that's something I'm really going to take here in Slovakia.
So you're in on the team called Hanlova in Slovakia,
Mhm.
correct? And you
Yep.
have been going through your preseason. So you're in
Yep.
preparations. When do you start to play?
So our first game is October 2nd. But we've had some friendly games. We played at home, and then we actually just got back from Czech Republic. We played there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I had some really good games. So first game, I think 24 points. Second game, double, 10, 11. Then third game had 23. So I had some really good showings, and I'm trying to just take that, with me, and keep my confidence up, so I can, perform like that during the season.
And you've played in two places where not a lot of our guests have played, both in Denmark and Slovakia.
Mhm.
In Slovakia in particular, where you are now, what sorts of things off the court that are fringe benefits do you get with regards to your contract, if anything? I know you have your
Uh,
usual standard pay, but do you get like a car? Do you get a room and board, anything like that?
oh well, basically just room and board. I'm actually in a small city, so there's really not much to do. But I think for my case, I think that's really good for me, because it allows me to focus on the goal that I have, basketball wise. And other than that, the people are nice here. My teammates are really cool as well. So I just got here probably 2 weeks ago, so I'm still adjusted, to the city. I haven't really been out yet, but I will eventually, try to venture out and see things. And then we just actually went to Czech Republic. We toured a little bit. That was really nice. So, but other than that, it's really just been straight basketball for me at this point, and I think that's going to be good for me.
At this point in time, we talked about COVID a little bit as the overarching theme so far of, you weren't able to walk for your graduation, and your whole pro career has been the quote unquote COVID era. What are the
Right.
precautions that have been in place during your time in Denmark versus now in Slovakia? Obviously, there's a little bit of time lapse between the two, and vaccines have been rolling out. But what have sort of been the COVID protocols that you've had to undergo as a professional athlete?
Oh well, we have to obviously get the vaccine. we had to. I actually didn't have to quarantine here because I actually caught COVID right before I was supposed to leave to come here, but then so I actually had to sit out. Or while I was home, quarantining, trying to get better, and they took the time to make sure I got another COVID test before I flew in and things like that. So those have really been the main precautions. In Denmark, it was actually shocking because when I first got there, a lot of people wasn't wearing masks, and this is when COVID was really like 2020. That was when COVID was a big outbreak, and like seeing people, we were going into stores, there were no one with masks on. Like me, I had an American teammate with me, and we were the only ones, with our mask on, and we were like, are people not know it's a pandemic going on? But that's why I was like, I think it was a different world because U.S. that's where most of the COVID cases was breaking out, but it wasn't so much in Denmark. And here, there's some places where there's a mask.
Like quickly, is there a way to stream your games this year?
Yes, I'm still trying to figure out more information on that though. Right, games, so they haven't really been on. But I think once the season starts, I think there's like a link that I can just probably post, and there can be ways you can see the games.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to know, since you're so early in your career, did you have any career goals going forward that you had in mind?
Really, my career goal is just playing the highest level as possible. Obviously, goals are great to have, but that's really just my main focus, to continue to progress my game, to play, either in the NBA or the highest level, in the Euro Cups. So that's really my main focus. And also, I guess goals for me too. I think double doubles for me can help me get there, just with being able to score the ball, but also having the knack for getting rebounds. So I think doing those things can help me reach the goals that I have to playing the highest level.
Well, thanks for joining us today on Expat Hoops. That was DeAndre Abram talking about his short professional career that he's had in Denmark and Slovakia so far. A reminder to subscribe to our YouTube and make sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook to get all of our latest content. And I'm Tony Budney, and that's Andy Hoverman. And we'll see you next time on Expat Hoops.